just before 8 o'clock, getting ready to go on the trail. Took a nice slow morning. It was 44 degrees when we got up. I didn't want to get out of my quilt. In fact, made me breakfast in bed, which was pretty special. And so warmed up to 52 degrees now, and we're gonna hit the trail. Get to go up over Mount Abe today, going down that way. Bring you the views because it should be a beautiful day. Speaking of views, there's Camel's Hump. Get to go over that southbound if all goes well later this summer. If you don't spend a night at Theron Dean Shelter, I highly recommend at least coming out and checking out the view because it is amazing.
So we were just talking about the view. Theron Dean Shelter has a composting privy. So thank you so much to the caretakers that maintain that. Not an easy job, especially when you have hikers and others that aren't being helpful and leave trash and stuff behind. If you bring it in, bring it out with you. We're also doing a side quest.
Doing a sign survey for the Green Mountain Club. We're taking photos of all the signs that are along the long trail, reporting their condition, and using GPS pins so they have the exact location of signs, especially if they need to come and repair or replace them. Dealing with some blowdowns first thing this morning on the trail. Can't go over it, gotta go under it. Tuft is getting ready to go up this rebar and ladder section up there, so she's folding up her trekking poles to make it a easier climb. Well, I don't know about easier, but more hands-free. You can tell she has some experience doing this. Right up the ladder she goes. So, yeah, there's a white blaze on that tree right there. Believe it or not, that's the trail. There's Tuft up ahead. We are quite thankful that there was space at Theron Dean Shelter last night. Would not have wanted to do this climbing technical section in the fading light last night. So we're blessed for sure. And we are continuing our climb towards Stark's Nest. Amazing views on this ski trail. Got Lake Champlain extending way to the north. Beautiful morning so far. We've made it as far as Stark's Nest. Gorgeous views. Gonna be a gorgeous, gorgeous day. So I already showed you the views from Stark's Nest, but this is the building. You can get water there. There's a rain barrel. And if you want, you can camp inside. Picnic tables. If Theron Dean Shelter had been full, we would have pushed to here last night, but thankfully it was just the two of us. Would not have wanted to have done that climb because it would have been dark when we got here, so thankful that we had our spots. But there's also plenty of places to tent around here. Well, I don't know about plenty, but there's places to tent. You can set up down over in there, so not a ton of places, but there's definitely places. So if it's anonymous and your name is on there, is it really anonymous? Questions. Oh shoot. Tup says this is as close as she ever gets to skiing. At least for downhill. And I haven't downhill skied in a long time. I've hiked on a lot of the ski trails. Nice bench over here with views to the west. If it wasn't for the fact I just took a break, I'd have a seat. Views out in across Lake Champlain into the Adirondacks. Now we're starting the portion of the trail I like to refer to as the cakewalk, but something tells me, seeing how this is our first packs on hike of the season, it is not going to seem like much of a cakewalk. But from here to the summit of Mount Abe is a lot of ridge walking, gorgeous views. This is probably Monroe Skyline. It's one of my favorite sections of the long trail to hike. Part of the reason we're doing this section this weekend for a training hike. So this is what the trail looks like heading south. And we'll be going up over Mount Ellen a little later today. We've made it to the Barton Trail, which goes down 3/10 of a mile to Glen Ellen Lodge. We thought about checking it out, but we decided to keep going. We got 6 more miles just to get to Battell Shelter, so up over a couple of mountains. So we're going to keep heading south. Just beyond the Barton Trail, there's the Orvis Lookout, or at least if you're heading southbound, it's just beyond. Top's already out here checking out the views. I'm going to join her. Adirondacks in the distance, Lake Champlain below. Beautiful, beautiful day. So the cakewalk has been a little less cakewalky, partly because of, a big part of it is because of some blowdowns. We've run into about 4 since the intersection of the Barton Trail, so that's made it a little more challenging. And not being in trail shape, it's also adding to the excitement. We have come to yet another blowdown. Unfortunately, we cannot stay on trail because that's the trail right there. Making it challenging.
From moss-covered paths to rock climbs. With or without bars. Long trail gives you a little bit of everything. And a gorgeous day.
Just about to the summit of Mount Ellen, taking in a gorgeous view of Lake Champlain and the Adirondacks on our way up. We had a nice pack off break at the chairlift just below the summit of Mount Ellen. Mount Ellen is actually a wooded summit, and it's not actually really marked on the trail, so you do go over it. But this is our first 4,000 footer of this year. But more or less, this is about it. So, no views to see. There's the next little peak we gotta climb, Cuts Peak. Panning down into the valley below. Been a beautiful day so far. Thankfully there's been a breeze, so unlike last weekend when we did our shelter maintenance at David Logan's shelter, black flies have not been an issue. Unless it's just that they aren't up at this elevation at this point, but usually they are. The breeze has been wonderful. The blowdown's not so much. If you're coming to get water at Holt Hollow, I'd suggest bringing a scoop, because I had to walk down through and around all these blowdowns to actually get to a good spot where the water's, it's flowing fine right here, but there's enough of a fall that you could fill up a bag. Worst thing is I had a scoop bottle in my pack that I left up at the trail, so. But yeah, there's a water source further up, but you need a scoop to fill your bags up. Well, we've made it as far as Castle Rock chairlift. We're taking a lunch break.
Hitting the can hard.
Having some sausage cheese wraps and just relaxing for a little bit. Got water to fill up our bottles. Let's see, there's the bags waiting to be filtered. We'll do that after we eat lunch and get back on the trail. Just finished lunch at Castle Rock chairlift. Enjoyed a nice break. Next stop will be Lincoln Peak. Take a little break there before we head up over Mount Abe. Nice view off the side of the trail here, but I was busy gawking at that and saw a hare just up the trail.
Going from winter white face to the tan summertime face.
Neat thing to see, but we'll see if it gets bigger in the talent. Just coming over the peak of Nancy Hanks Peak. Some evidence of recent trail work, which we appreciate because there has been a lot of blowdowns. But you can see there's still sawdust on the ground, so that was cut sometime this spring. So very appreciative. There seems to have been some trail maintenance between Lincoln Peak and Castle Rock, because it's been much less blowdowns to deal with. Coming up the summit of Lincoln Peak. Looking back on what we've done today, up over all that there. And Lake Champlain, Champlain Valley below. In a little bit we'll see our last couple peaks to climb for today. So we've got Little Abe, and then Mount Abe, and then down the other side of Mount Abe to Battell Shelter. Getting closer. Made it to the summit of Little Abe, 3,900 feet. Mount Abe's just a little ways ahead. And down to Battell for the night. Well, the trail work seems to have been short-lived because between Little Abe and summit of Mount Abe are running into blowdowns again. But we appreciate it while we had it. There's a little pile of rocks here. Kind of a faint trail that leads out to a plane wreck. Happened back in the 70s. Good chunk of the plane's still there. But not going to go out to it today. The views on top of Mount Abe, panning from the southwest over to the west. Lake Champlain extending on north. Pretty good views. There's Tupt and panning to the views northeast. Over to the east. And then panning down to our view to the south. Starting to make our way down from the summit of Mount Abe. Half a mile down to Battell. The descent coming down the summit of Mount Abe is fairly technical. Doesn't make it very enjoyable. Unfortunately, the summit is where we first have run into black flies today. Breeze has laid down some, unfortunately. So, don't know. Camp tonight might be wearing head nets. We'll find out. There's the trail ahead. Trees down everywhere. Thankfully not so far on the trail below Mount Abe, but the evergreens took it hard this winter. There was a couple of nasty windstorms that we had, and it has been quite evident on the trail. Made it to Battell Shelter, our stop for the evening. Appears that there's one other person camping here tonight so far. Or at least stuff is here. And we're gonna set up. Hopefully the black flies aren't too bad. So we finally made it to Battell Shelter. Took us most of the day, just over 7.5 miles today. And lots of blowdowns, and we dealt with a number of them.
We've decided that the cakewalk is more of a fruitcake, maybe.
Yeah, definitely wasn't a cakewalk for us today. But we'll see how far we go tomorrow.